Congratulations to Gary Russell. Earlier tonight, did his thing against Diaz. He, he did what he had to do. He didn't land a lot of the shots he was putting out there. But what he did was he frustrated Diaz a lot with his speed, a lot with keeping his hands moving. He did what he was supposed to do in there, constantly keeping something in that young hungry lion's face all night. And they pretty much knew that his footwork wasn't going to be all that great. So they did a lot of moving around. They did a lot of sticking and moving. They did a lot of jabbing earlier in the fight, and then he got to a point to where he being Gary, got to the point to where he stopped letting his hands go, and he tried to walk Diaz down, and he had problems trying to walk Diaz down because Diaz was the bigger man in there, and Diaz likes to fight that way, so he wasn't able to impose his will on Diaz. So Diaz started to look good in the middle parts of the fight, and Russell almost let him in, but they figured out what they needed to do, switched up his game plan. He started attacking the body, and he started moving around at a distance and started trying to box on the outside, and kept his hands moving, kept landing combinations, and kept utilizing his speed. And that threw off the timing of Diaz, and he got tired and he got frustrated, and he pretty much just kept his hands at bay and gave up for the rest of the fight. You know, it was nothing else he could do. Moving on to Adonis Stevenson and Badu Jack, man, this was a frustrating fight to watch. I wasn't happy at all. I thought it was going to end up being a good night for Badu Jack, more so like a Bernard Hopkins versus Pascal. And that's, to me, what should have happened. But Badu Jack gets to a point to where he just doesn't let his hands go when he needs to. He lets them go, but he lets them go at the right time, at the wrong time. You need to make sure that you let your hands go in the right times. There's certain pockets in the fight where you need to be active. And I mean, that's easy to say when you're on the outside looking in. You're not factoring in fatigue. You're not factoring in a guy clinching, holding, grabbing you. You know, you're just trying to focus on backing the guy up or getting him to do what you want him to do. And it's not working out in your favor. And, you know, we see those pockets where it's nothing being done at that time amongst either fighter, and you wish somebody would just take control. And that's what this fight was all about. Nobody was ever really able to secure total control in this fight. When you see a scorecard where Badu Jack wins, he was the only one to clearly be the victor on one of the judges' scorecards, and then the other two have the scorecards knotted. That right there is a clear indication that he won the fight. So it just doesn't make any sense. You know, why would you do a majority draw when on one of the judges' scorecards this guy won? You should have just gave him the belt, and what Badu Jack should have done was giving him a rematch and go ahead and close him out. That's all you had to do. Why would you make it a draw and then try to force a rematch? Now you're giving the so-called champ the opportunity to duck and dodge or say that he wants to retire and give up the belt and all of this stuff when nobody wants to truly win like that. This guy went all the way there to become the victor, and he should have came out victorious, but it's not all the judge's fault. He should have let his hands go in those pockets where it was no activity amongst either fighter. And the referee was getting on my nerves, man. I mean, extremely bad. Breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking the whole fight. Bro, relax. This dude never relaxed in the fight. He was sweating on his back and got bashed in his face by Badu Jack, trying to come in and break it up. That's why I say all the time, man, and I know I said it in another video, sometimes, especially in fights of this magnitude, tell these guys to punch out. That's all you have to do. You don't have to keep running in and splitting them up, running in and splitting them up. Tell them to punch out, and when you finally see that they're running out of gas and they literally leaning on each other, then you go ahead and break. But, I mean, come on, bro. I mean, just breaking it, and just damaging the whole momentum of the fighters and just tearing down, you know, the pace of the fight. And that within itself is fatiguing, you know, just separating these guys and having them reset and then reset over again. You know, it just doesn't need to happen in these types of fights. You know, I'm looking at the cards, 115, 113 for Jack, and then you got two other judges that scored 114, 114. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, the guy should have edged out, but I'm pissed because I'm getting tired of Stevenson, man. This guy, you know, he do all of this yapping and yapping all the time, and the only thing that he did in the ring tonight was hug on this man like he was really ready to start a relationship or something, bro. What you doing all this hugging for? You know, I mean, he did what he had to do. I mean, if the referee wasn't gonna threaten to take a point away, then why would he stop doing it? And this guy didn't threaten Stevenson. He was threatening Jack for going down so-called too low below the belt, and that wasn't even really the case, but he was threatening him. And then when he finally decided to start holding, he started getting a little tired. Then the referee turned around and told him, hey, man, you hugging. He gave him a warning. So it is what it is, man. Wasn't that great of a fight, man. You could have gave the first half to Stevenson. Yeah, I was with the broadcasters on that one. You could have gave the first half to him and then gave the second half to Jack. You know, but Jack was just, at the end of the day, it doesn't even really matter. You know, he needs to learn how to stay busy. He was doing the right things. He was moving. He was sticking and moving. He was throwing combination punches. When they got into close quarters, he was letting his hands go. But after I would say probably like the 7th or the 8th, you know, he started letting Stevenson clinch him too much. And then once they ended up leaning in on each other and laying on each other, he was inactive. You know, you can't let Stevenson get away with throwing a few shots and then laying on you and then clinch you. And now time is cycling off the clock, and by the time y'all get back to actually throwing something, it's time for you to go to your corner. So you can't help but to award the guy that you last saw busy in that round. Anyway, man, congratulations to Gary Russell Jr. Did a pretty good job tonight. I watched some other fights earlier in the day on Fox. Those were pretty decent, but not worthy enough for a video. But anyway, man, I'm going to call this one a night. These guys pretty much put me to sleep, man. I'm out.